Here we go. Welcome back to another episode of Chargers Powder Hour, episode number 80. Colin Appel, Miles Raruka. We are your co-host. My dude, how's it going? How we feeling heading into actually it's officially week 1 in the
It
NFL. How you feeling,
it
man?
is officially fuck the Finns week. Week I have been waiting for since the schedule has dropped. We are here. Not talking about them quite tonight, but we have a bunch of stuff, a bunch of preseason awards, record predictions. We got a bunch of fun stuff for this season opening episode, man. So I'm excited. Great time to be alive, man. How are you doing? We are officially 6 days away from Chargers football.
I'm doing great, man. I cannot wait for this Sunday. And even though this isn't the official Dolphins preview episode, it is still officially fuck the Fins week. So you are right about that. But dude, I'm feeling good. College football is already back, so I feel like there's definitely been some itches scratched as far as like football being back and having games on the weekend. So yeah, that's exciting, but nothing compares to the NFL. I'm sorry. Like college is fun, and now that I live in Arizona, I can bet legally on games, so that keeps it entertaining and worth following along. But yeah, nothing like the NFL Week 1, man. Nothing like when Scott Hansen comes on NFL Red Zone and you hear those beautiful words. 8 hours of commercial free action
It's gonna hit
starts
like
now.
crack, bro. Oh,
It's the best. Fall. I mean, it's really not fall yet, but it seems like fall just automatically starts when football starts.
yeah, totally. And the time is here. So, already looking on the Chargers to really bring me back from some sorrows that our Nebraska Cornhusker caused week 1. So I like to
Could be
balance the
more.
I like to balance the two teams out, but whichever one is more successful is usually the one I'm going to gravitate towards. So, Chargers are 0-0, Huskers are 0-1. Let's talk about the Chargers.
Yes, sir, dude. It's gonna be a fun week 1. And we'll get into all that stuff too. But before we get even into that, this episode's mainly gonna be just about kind of the last really week or so of news. With training camp wrapping up and the Chargers officially announcing their 53-man roster, which we'll cover. I know we haven't really had a chance to cover it since the news has come out, but yeah, a big overall look at what this season could be for the Chargers. We've kind of broken it down step by step throughout camp and throughout preseason, and now it's time to officially make those predictions and really kind of give our endorsement for the season. So, but even before that, we have the main, not the main thing, but a main part of the show, which is something that you've dropped the ball on a little bit lately, and that's what are you drinking?
I got a frosty boy out tonight. Football is back officially. No better way to get it started than some Blue Mountains, a nice cooled Coors Light out of the fridge. That's what I'm sipping on tonight, man. Nothing special, but
Hey,
perfect football beer.
back on the horse. I'm continuing to drink even after a long Labor Day weekend where my liver definitely needs some rest, but you know, gotta keep going for the pod. So I don't know if I've had one of these on the pod before. It's an Arizona beer, but the Joy Bus.
Hmm.
Wow.
Chargers
WOW.
colors.
Yeah, Chargers colors. It's very like blue moonish. So the Joy Bus Wow wheat beer. Very good. Highly recommend.
I'll
If
have
you're in
to.
Arizona, you gotta jump on it.
I was about to say, whenever I find myself in your neck of the woods, you got to put me on for sure, man.
Oh, definitely, dude. Um, so let's go ahead and get right into it. But I wanted to start with every year. I guess this past year, what we did was, we at the end of the year we hand out awards for, team awards, individual team awards for players that we deemed, uh, you know, worthy enough of winning those awards. So I want to go ahead and make some 2023 team individual award predictions. And we'll start, we'll leave the biggest award last, but we'll start on the offensive side of the ball. So who is your 2023, or who are you predicting will be the 2023 offensive player of the year for this Chargers team?
I mean, we all know the answer that comes to mind, but I'm gonna save that person for another award. I'm actually gonna go Keenan Allen of all people, dude.
Oh,
Keenan
okay.
has been showing out in camp like usual. I think if he stays healthy, should he stay healthy, I think he's a lock for over 100 receptions this year, dude. I mean, just
Yep.
his chemistry that he's been able to develop with Justin Herbert. And I mean, I know that we just drafted QJ. You know, we got some younger guys in the backfield that people are going to be looking for. All these new faces around. Don't get it twisted. Keenan's still that guy. You know, we've seen a little bit of regression, but there's no doubt that 13 can get open. 13 always
Yeah.
open. So I would not be surprised if you guys haven't had your fantasy drafts yet and you're in a PPR league. He might be a must draft for you guys. I'm going to go Keenan Allen as my offensive MVP. Justin Herbert's right hand man this season.
Yeah, I love that pick. That's a solid pick. And look, there's no reason to assume that if Keenan doesn't uh stay healthy that he won't be the offensive player of the year. I mean, obviously you got Justin Herbert, which I'm was pretty sure that's who you're saving your MVP award for, which if that's the
We'll
case,
we'll see. We'll see.
if that's the case, I mean, wink, wink. I'm kind of with you on that one as well. But that's the obvious one. So I mean, that's the elephant in the room when it comes to these team award predictions. Like obviously, Herbert, like everything runs through Herbert. But other offensive options, I definitely think Keenan, if he can stay healthy, he's still going to be very productive. I think anyone that's trying to argue that he's washed just because he was hurt most of the last season, like that's a ridiculous take. Like he is going to put up numbers. He has been Justin Herbert's number one guy since Herbert's entered the league. So that's not going to change. I mean, sure, he's probably going to spread it around a little bit more this year, but he's still going to have his number one guy, which that's Keenan Allen. Like you said, he can get open with the best of them, and he just gives you it's an extra safety blanket. Especially we call him third and Keenan. He dominates on third downs, getting open, beating guys, and extending drives for the offense and for Herbert. So I love that pick. I like that pick. It definitely was one that I was thinking of. But I'm gonna go a different direction, and I'm gonna go Austin Eckler.
Mm.
That's who I'm predicting to be the Chargers offensive player of the year in 2023. I just think he's got so much to prove, and whether he ends up being a Charger next year or not, I think we've both been on record saying we don't think he is. So just kind of enjoy this last season, and push all your chips into the center of the table. So I think he, even just for the rest of his career, like whatever he does after this season, wherever he lands, like he's got so much incentive to just go nuts this year. And there's his production, nothing about his production says that he won't. I mean, as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be another one of these guys he's a staple of this offense, whether it's receiving, rushing. He's always cranking out big plays, highlight plays, and I just think he's in the store for another huge year. Um, and I drafted him on my fantasy team, so you know, I would love for him to go off.
So there's the whole answer right there. Is it's all about fantasy, huh?
I mean,
But
that wouldn't hurt. That
no, I mean,
aspect of it
yeah,
wouldn't
that's
hurt.
just that's a cherry on top for sure. But yeah, dude, I love that pick. I am praying though. I'm honestly part of me's praying for an Austin Eckler slight decline, only due to the fact I don't want him to see as much volume in the pass game as he has. I want us to be able to throw the ball downfield a lot more and not take so many checkdowns like we have with Joe Lombardi at OC. And hopefully that's going to change this year. But yeah, there's no doubt about it. As a pass catcher, he's extremely valuable. Just the kind of things that dude with the ball in his hands is just totally unbelievable. And I do want to give a quick shout out to someone else that deserves to be mentioned for this award that benefits both Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, and that whole offense coming back. Rashawn Slater coming back this year, definitely honorable mention for offensive MVP. That offense, as we saw last year, was just in complete disarray without one of those guys. If Keenan Allen is Justin Herbert's right hand, Rashawn Slater is his left hand. So, got to give a quick shout out to Rashawn Slater as well.
And we all know what you do with your left and right hand. Just throwing that out there.
I'm not sure that we do.
What are you
but
thinking?
continue.
What are you thinking about? Get your mind out of the gutter, dude.
Well, yeah, dude. All right, just move on.
I was talking about writing.
Nobody
and picking up utensils
with both hands.
Yeah, well, either one,
All right, yeah, fair enough. And if you're amphibious,
there you go.
Yeah.
No, like Rashawn Slater being back is going to be huge for this offense, and yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what the running game looks like with him back and with a healthy Trey Pipkins, and just with a healthy offensive line in general. It's not often we get to see a fully healthy offensive line, so that's one of my favorite things about week one is just you get to see 99% of your starters out there, and hope that you get to see multiple games and majority of the season with those guys out there. But in our recent experience, that hasn't been the case. So fingers crossed there, as always. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, this defensive unit, I think they're going to take some big strides this season. I think, it's another season in the same scheme. There's some more familiarity. There's going to be more confidence there with players across the board, whether it's vets or younger guys, like a lot more confidence, just knowing where they're supposed to be. They can play a little faster and be more effective. So I'm expecting a lot out of this defense, but this one's kind of a shoe-in for me every year. It's kind of like, where we'll probably end up with the MVP at the end of this segment, but everything's going to go through Derwin James. He is the quarterback of the defense. And I did have, maybe another guy or two that I considered throwing in there, but
throw him out there. I mean, because Derwin James, just like Herbert, is the right answer. So other than Derwin James, who you got?
I mean, Derwin's the smart man's bet. He's the lock, the safe bet. But another guy that I did really contemplate giving this award to was J.C. Jackson. I really think if he can get back to 2021 J.C. Jackson, there's no reason why he couldn't also be the player of the year on this defense. I mean, we've seen very, very small flashes since he's been a Charger of what he can bring to the table. And we've also seen it just playing against him. So we know what that looks like. And I just feel like we haven't, Charger fans are just so giddy to see this guy back out there and just operating at a high level. I think we kind of got cheated out of that a little bit last year with his injuries, and just that was a bummer. So I really think JC Jackson can have a significant impact on this defense in 2023.
Yeah, really praying for a bounce back for JC. Was not very productive on the field last season when he was there, and then obviously the injury afterwards. Hoping he can bounce back. Last season was just kind of weird. Went in with that weird knee injury that kind of flared up a week before the season started, and then just kind of was just and then
he had surgery on the ankle, and then I feel like he was never we had him for 4 or 5 weeks last year, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, he was still just getting used to the scheme, getting used to the play on the field while battling back from those injuries. And with everything we've seen so far this offseason, it looks like he's darn near 100%. So definitely looking forward to seeing him out there. For me, I'm going to go with just the duo of Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. It's hard to pick either one because they both play off of each other so well, which was just a massive missing piece to our defense last year. Was once Joey went out, Khalil wasn't nearly as effective. But with both of them on the field, dude, it's a two-headed monster out there. It's impossible to double them. You can't double both of them. One of them's going to be able to get open. So I just think the way that they're going to be able to work off of each other, they're going to be able to get after quarterbacks and hopefully either get the ball out or pressure the QB into some bad throws into that secondary of Derwin James and J.C. Jackson. So
Yeah.
yeah, those guys are obviously just drastically important to our defense. Not even to mention the impact that they have on the running game. Um, just anybody that we brought in that wasn't around last year, whether it's Eric Kendricks or, Joey Bosa, those guys are going to help so much in the run game this season. So,
Though that's a very similar situation to the JC Jackson uh injury situation last year. Like we got cheated out of seeing Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack healthy and lining up against, lining up opposite each other week after week. That just, I mean, that's one of those storylines I'm most excited to just watch and you know pay attention to this season. Is just like, oh my god, those guys are both going to be out there and they're both going to be healthy. And now everyone knows at this point, Joey Bosa, he's beefed back to about, what did he play at when he first entered the league? He's at like 260 now, I think.
yeah, he's a big ass dude.
260, 270. I think he played a little lighter last year, like around 250 ish. So he's healthy. Like I just think he's one of those guys, and this will be my transition to comeback player of the year, because he is my prediction for comeback player of the year is Joey Bosa. I think he has to have a strong comeback year. Otherwise, there's just too many question marks about this roster heading into next season. We know some guys, even though they're still under contract, probably going to get cut just due to you know being a cap casualty. So if Bosa doesn't want to be one of those guys, he's got to have a solid year, and I think he's capable of that, and I think he will do that. I think if he stays healthy, I don't see why, opposite Khalil Mack, why you couldn't set a career high for sacks. I
Hungry,
think his
hungry big
current
bear.
yeah, I think his current career high is like right around 12 and a half. Don't quote me on that, but I think he did that like maybe his first or second year in the league.
Yeah, and it's really not uncommon for pass rushers to, have those just explosive seasons in their eighth, ninth, in those years
Well,
where
if especially if he's going to get the help, like Khalil Mack is obviously huge, and that's what most
yeah.
people are going to immediately talk about and go to. But how about just having a stout interior defensive line, like how that can just open things up for guys on the edge? Austin Johnson's going to be back. We'll see guys like Tito Agbania, Morgan Fox get worked into to the rotation. Christian Covington's back on our practice squad. I think that was a super underrated move by Tom Telesco, was to get someone that you're familiar with, and someone that played pretty decent. Like he was one of those injuries that we had, on the interior last year, and we definitely missed his depth down the line. So, but yeah, I mean, I think Joey Bosa's prime for a comeback season. Definitely, I think he's if he stays healthy all year and doesn't have any like nagging, lingering issues that like he's out there but he's not himself. I don't see why he shouldn't at least have 10 plus sacks at least.
Yeah, 100%. Especially like we both mentioned across from Khalil, with the way that Staley's going to be able to scheme those guys up on the field together. It's got me so excited for Sunday because we know for a damn fact that everyone's going to be healthy Sunday. Well, knock on wood,
Yeah.
it is Monday, but we know for a
Right.
fact come this week we don't have to worry about injuries. So
Right.
yeah, that's just all the more reason to just be as excited for week one as possible. But for my comeback player of the year, I mean, yeah, we've mentioned Bosa. We talked about Slater a little bit. I'm actually going to stay on the defensive side of the ball, and I'm going to go Kenneth Murray as my comeback player of the year.
Ooh.
And I know
Okay.
that this is a bold pick. It's a hot take, but I still see it. Especially just in camp this year. I've seen more this year in camp than I've seen out of him since he's been able to be in the league. I don't know if this is necessarily me wanting to speak this into existence or if I actually have a ton of facts to back up why this is, gonna be a good pick for this category. But I mean, the camp film speaks for itself. Popper raved about him in several articles, making plays during some of the scrimmages. Um, I think that he can be, even if we can just get him to be a good run stopper, he can suck ass in coverage. If he can just do that much for us, then that's a comeback for me in all accounts. So I'm gonna go Kenneth Murray and hope that he can just really be a plug and fill linebacker to be able to fill some of those running back holes.
Yeah, another guy that has a lot of incentive in 2023. Has a lot to prove. And he's going into this is his last
This
year of his
is
rookie.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
he's
was
same
same
draft as Herbert, same
yeah,
round. So yeah, like he's one of those like former first round pick. The Chargers declined his 5th-year option earlier in the offseason, and this is kind of it for him. Not even just as a Charger, but he's one of those guys that's fighting for a second contract just in general. So, those guys definitely have more of a chip on their shoulder. And yeah, I think, for him, I think the first thing is staying healthy, like a lot of guys on this team, because of his injury history. But also, it is another year in Brandon Staley's scheme. You do hope that that's worth something, that there's strides taken, there's more confidence, there's, all that stuff. So I look, no one's rooting for that pick to come true more than me, because if that's the case, then Kenneth Murray had a hell of a year, and our run defense was probably pretty good. And our defense as a whole probably benefited greatly just from that linebacker play. So yeah, I would love for that to happen.
I'm praying, man. Again, I'm mostly just saying that because I want it to happen more than anything. Hopefully, I can speak it into existence. But I will say he had by far his most productive camp and offseason that
Yeah.
we've seen since he's come into the league. So
Yeah.
there is reason to believe that he can step it up a little bit.
Oh, 100%. I even read somewhere, I think this is his first offseason that he's ever had, that he hasn't had any surgeries that he's coming off of, or injury, or like, so that's, I mean, take that for what it's worth, but it's something.
For sure, man. So
All right. On to the second to last award. We have the Rookie of the Year award. I know there's going to be a very hot pick for this one, and I mean, we're probably both leaning towards that route, but still want to leave it open, because I do think, I mean, just when you zoom out on this rookie class as a whole, just given who the Chargers took in the first round and what position he is, it's going to be hard for him probably not to win this award. A receiver, primary position on the football field, going to see lots of action, probably going to have lots of production, even as a third or fourth option. But Quentin Johnson's the obvious choice here, just given the nature of the class. But did want to leave it open. Didn't know if you had any other hot takes, because I definitely was not uh, predicting you to take Kenneth Murray for your comeback player. So,
yeah, well, I
uh,
wasn't gonna take QJ for rookie of the year. So
oh, you really? You're not going QJ? That's where I'm going. I
I mean,
think.
I mean, it's obviously not a bad pick. I'm just trying to be more bold, and you're boring. So
Oh, okay. Well,
no, I'm just
I'll be
playing.
the boring one then, for
I'm
that
just
sake.
kidding.
But
I'm just kidding.
no, man, I think I don't like this is an interesting one for me, because I do think I think he'll be the Rookie of the Year for this team no matter what. But I could be wrong. But it's more so of, what are my realistic expectations for him? He's probably, I mean, I don't know. It sounded like he was the wide receiver 3 heading into camp, no questions about it. And now it's like, oh, I don't know. Palmer looked pretty good. He's more familiar. He's been around a little bit longer. Like, I don't know what that's going to look like until we are a game or two in, and you kind of see like, oh, well, Herbert does like to throw to him down the field. He does get open. He does have that breakaway speed. Um, but yeah, just looking at the rest of this class, I don't think I have the boldness to take anyone else at this point.
I mean, yeah, no, I mean, QJ is by far the safest pick for this award. I'm just looking at it from more of a rotational piece, who's gonna, be seeing the most playing time for rookies. And I mean, none of them are obviously gonna be, well, I guess QJ could potentially be a week one starter at that wide receiver 3 role. But I'm really, really excited to watch our boy helping out on the defensive line, Tulipelotu. I really think
Yeah.
he can be a great rotational piece. Bosa and Mack, as much as we just raved about him, aren't going to be out there. They're not playing 100 snaps a game. We need guys like Thule and Chris Rumpf to come in and be able to be productive. And Thule showed me all of that this preseason. He showed me a lot of promise, especially in that game against the Saints. I think he's the real deal. He led all of college in sacks last year. I'm not asking him that he's going to just come out and be like a, D-Roy candidate this season, but I think he's going to be a really nice rotational piece to come off the bench, and I think we're going to see a lot of flashes from him this rookie year.
Yeah, that's I like that pick. I definitely think you're right about seeing flashes from a guy like him, and yeah, I mean that's a good pick, but I also feel like it just comes down to me. For me, it comes down to like how often are you going to see him? If it is just going to be I mean, he could have a good year, and if it's still just a rotational thing, I still feel like if someone like QJ had a decent year, but because I don't know, there's just premium positions, and edge is definitely one of them, but it's like it's tough to
I'll
match those
even
up.
I'll say Thule gets. I think he can get 6 sacks this year.
That would be awesome.
I'll go 5. 6 might be a bit lofty, but I could
That
see.
would be. I mean, if he's gonna get six, like then he's definitely gonna have a bigger role than we're probably anticipating, which
I mean, I'm not anticipating Khalil
could
Mack and
happen.
Joey Bosa
Like,
to play, 34 games this year. I'm just not, like, combined between the two. I
yeah,
mean, they're older dudes. I don't think they're gonna both play all 17 games. There's gonna be a week or two that at least one of them's not gonna be out there, and that's when opportunity comes knocking. And I think Thule has showed me enough this off season that he's up for it. So
yeah. I mean, look, he's definitely towards the top of that class of guys who could have the most immediate impact for this team. Another honorable mention for me would be linebacker Diane Henley.
Henley, yeah,
I think
I was battling between the two.
he's kind of in more of a starting role than Tuli will be, and I think you know, we'll see him quite a bit this season. I really think we will. Um, and well, knock on wood, because I also forgot. I mean, I don't think we've recorded since this has happened, but he got hurt in practice.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know what
doesn't
his
doesn't
status
seem like
is.
it's. I don't think it's anything serious. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
not to my knowledge. We would know
yeah,
by now if it was something serious because that news has dropped for a while now. So
yeah. I didn't think it. I mean, it didn't sound too serious. But I just thought that was worth noting. So, unless it does turn into something serious, I do think we'll see a lot of Diane Henley this year, and I do think he's one of those guys that's just prime for a pretty productive rookie season.
yeah, completely agree. Diane was another guy that I really wanted to talk about. I think he can do a lot, especially with the dude like Eric Kendricks now in that LB room. He's going to be able to learn a lot from a veteran like
Yeah,
that. So excited to see what Diane can do. Already one of my fan favorites on the team, dude. I don't know if you watched the hot ones with him and QJ, but
dude, I
he's
have not
funny.
seen those. I need to watch those.
Oh, dude, they're great content.
Yeah, I need to catch up on those, because I did see that episode got a lot of great reviews, and dude, he's just and Diane's he's a personality. I mean, I mean, I didn't know who he was until we drafted him, but the second I did my research, my homework, I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna be great, great for this team and for this fan base. So fans are gonna just fall in love with him.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
All right, on to the last award prediction of the episode. We obviously have the biggest one left, and that's team MVP. This one I think is the big elephant in the room. Um, unless you want to go, hey, you've gone the surprising route the last couple. So who are you going with? Team MVP.
Dude, I can't. Yeah, that man right there.
The
Justin
man
Herbert,
behind
team
you.
MVP. I mean, I don't even think we need to really say much about this one. I mean, he is the undisputed leader of this team. New OC that's going to let him air it out a lot this year. New weapons, healthy O line. I mean, is there anything else you really need to say?
No, but I do have an honorable mention that I think could be surprising to
All right,
you,
let's,
at
let's
least.
hear it.
So yeah, Justin Herbert is my obvious pick for team MVP. But if I had an honorable mention, I'm actually going to break the rule here a little bit because it's technically not what MVP stands for. But I'm going to go Kellen Moore.
Well, I mean, yeah, they
So
they there's like a 75-25 split of that award that would be given to Kellen
yeah,
Moore and Justin
I
Herbert.
think, dude, I'm just so excited to watch this offense on Sunday, and just how much things have changed just from last season, just from the playoff loss in January till now with this offense. More speed, more dynamic playmaking, healthy starters. I can't fucking wait. So yeah, but I think, look, if the Chargers do anything significant this year offensively, and are closing out games and going on these long winning stretches, it's going to come down to this offense, and it's got to be competitive to keep up with the Chiefs. Like if you want to keep up in this division, you're going to have to score points and close out games. And I think Kellen Moore can be a big reason why they win a handful of more games this year or find themselves in a better situation going into the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure, dude. The scheme that he's going to implement, I mean, that's why I almost like your QJ rookie pick even more, because like everyone's going to get involved in that offense. There's going to be a lot of mouths to feed, and I'm just so excited to see what some of these new weapons, some of these old weapons, but what the same old Justin Herbert is going to be able to do.
Yeah, I'm more excited to watch this offense probably than anything like right now. Like I just want to see that first drive, that first series, and I want to see this team move the ball. I want to see them not stall when they get to the 15-yard line, and I just want to see clean football.
True. Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, especially ball security. Justin Herbert's the kind of guy that likes to, he's got the arm talent to be able to fit it into tight windows, which can get you into trouble sometimes. But just with how this offense is going to be able to be spread out and just the different kinds of weapons that we have within this scheme, it's going to be so fun to watch.
It is, man. It really is. And real quick before we get into the season predictions, I did want to take at least a minute to highlight and kind of go over the 53-man roster. We have not had a chance to record and talk about the final roster since it has come out, and a couple surprises, not a lot. I think we've even said early on in camp, this is a pretty, like, there's not a lot of spaces, not a lot of spots on this roster to be won. They're pretty much spoken for, but there were a couple, I guess, surprising changes that I didn't see coming, that I think are at least worth talking about for a quick minute here. So, um, yeah, just going down. I mean, obviously starting with quarterback. I mean, Justin Herbert, Easton Stick. I think that was a given. No Max Dugan.
God, I hate when people say Dugan.
Is it Dugan or Duggan?
It's Duggan.
I've heard it like back and forth. So
Well,
I don't
Dugan
know.
to me sounds like 1G. Duggan's 2. So
Okay, I guess. All right. Max Duggan didn't make it. Max Duggan with 2 G's did not make it.
Max
But
Duggan.
Easton
Yeah,
Stick did.
yeah, no surprise Duggan didn't make it, especially with the new rule that you get to suit up an emergency QB, a third QB for every game starting this season. So not surprised that they're just rolling with 2 this year. Really nothing crazy there.
Yeah, another surprising one. I mean, running backs. Elijah Dotson did make this team. I mean, round of applause for Elijah Dotson. I mean, what a preseason he put together. First undrafted running back to make the roster since Austin Eckler. So, in pretty good company there. But Joshua Kelly, Isaiah Spiller, uh, Austin Eckler, obviously, we're going to make this roster from the get go. So that's a little bit of a surprising spin. And then interesting recent developments when Popper actually came out with the initial 53-man roster. Xander Horvath was on there,
Mm-hmm.
but the previous couple of days, we've come to find out that he actually is not on the roster. And not only is he on the roster, he did not get retained to the practice squad. So salute to Xander
Not
Horvath.
not just a salute to Xander Horvath, but a salute to the future of fullbacks in football in general.
Yes, very true. Because I mean, look, they drafted him with a 7th round pick, so not nothing too crazy, And I thought they would definitely hang on to him longer than just one season, but it's the way this business goes, and it clearly shows that they're not this coaching staff and this front office don't feel like they have to be tied to certain players just because they draft. Like they're not chained to certain players just because, well, we drafted. Like they're willing to take a risk and they're willing to put the best roster out there no matter what. And so I think that is a good thing. But yeah, appreciate you, Xander Horvath. Thank you for will always be my biggest highlight with Xander Horvath is I accurately predicted he would score the first touchdown of the season last year. So, I mean, appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, Xander. Good luck in your future endeavors and very sick drawing skills.
Oh, is he a good artist? I didn't even realize
We've
that.
talked about this before, but yeah, whatever.
Oh, okay. Well, moving on to wide receiver. Not a lot of shockers here. We did not. We were not correct on John Hightower making this team. That's kind of a bummer, but everything else we pretty much hit on. Chargers elect to stick with 5 receivers instead of 6. Using an extra space, with Elijah Dotson on that 4th running back spot, and an extra tight end, and amongst other things. But 5 receivers: Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Josh Palmer, Quentin Johnson, Darius Davis. Pretty to be expected group. I mean, we all knew those 5 guys were going to make it. It just came down to, will they keep a 6th? So nothing too crazy there. Tight ends, Chargers keeping 4, which is something that they have not done, I believe, for the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Gerald Everett, Donald Parham Jr., Trey McKitty, and Stone Smart all making it. Stone Smart probably going to be more of a special teams guy. But we've also talked about, who knows? They might actually prefer to use him in that Steven Anderson role as well. That's kind of like a fullback tight end hybrid. So we could see him in that role, but we'll kind of have to wait and see. And then when it comes to offensive linemen, Rashawn Slater, Zion Johnson, Corey Lindsley, Jamari Sawyer, Trey Pipkins, Will Clapp, Jordan McFadden, Brennan Hymus, and Foster Sorrell making the squad. I think noticeable guys left out there would probably be Zach Bailey.
Yeah,
But
I know Zach Bailey was a pretty hot pick to make the roster over guys like Brennan Hymus. But I think when it came down to it, they liked, the versatility of Hymus over that of Bailey's.
yep.
So,
Unfortunately for the Chargers, Zach Bailey is on the practice squad, so they did get to retain him, and so that's a positive there. But moving to defensive line, Sebastian Joseph Day, Morgan Fox, Austin Johnson, Scott Matlock, Christopher Hinton, and Nick Williams making the squad. So gonna probably see some changes there not too far from now, with guys like Tito Agbania coming back, and I don't know. I mean, Christian Covington, we'll see if it wouldn't surprise me if we see him in a in-game action before too long, whether it's 4, 5, 6 weeks down the road
yeah.
with maybe some injuries or something like that. But
Yeah, congrats on Christopher Hinton and Nick Williams on picking up that Joe Gaziano and Damian Square role for our defensive line.
yeah, big shout out to the guys that we're mentioning that we're not the locks because
Hey,
these guys,
as two NAFs over here just recording a podcast, respect to you for your athletic ability.
right?
No, you played
And
D3. You played D3 sports. Never mind.
well, NAIA, but
Okay,
who's
but
keeping
not, you're
track?
not an NFL. You're not on an NFL roster.
Right. um, but no, man, like shout out to all these guys making the squad that were definitely not locks. These guys battled all camp, all preseason, and this is like one of my favorite time of the years. Like when you see guys like the reaction video to like them finding out they made the squad, like that's dope. So yeah, shout out to guys like Christopher Hinton and Nick Williams. That's huge accomplishment. Edge position, no surprise there. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Tuli Pelotu, and Chris Rumpf. Linebackers, Eric Kendricks, Kenneth Murray, Diane Henley, Nick Neiman, Eamon Ogbong Bamiga. Really no surprise there as well. Lots of familiar faces. Safety, Derwin James, Alohi Gilman, JT Woods, Raheem Lane. And this is actually one of the bigger surprises here, but AJ Finley makes the squad over Mark Webb Jr., which I thought was probably the biggest surprise on the roster, outside of maybe guys like Hightower and Doss not making it. But AJ Finley showed enough in camp and preseason to win the job. So shout out to him. And cornerback, you got J.C. Jackson, Michael Davis, Asante Samuel Jr., Jasir Taylor, Dean Leonard. No surprises there. And Cameron Dicker is officially your Los Angeles Chargers kicker moving forward
Let's ride.
permanently. No more
Let's
interim
ride.
status. No more lingering future, questions. It is he's our guy. He is the guy. So love that for him. Josh Harris and J.K. Scott resuming their duties as long snapper and punter. So
There's your
there are your
53.
2023 Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, that's the squad. There's your 53 men right there. But dude, let's get to some predictions. I've been waiting for this all
You
week.
itching? All right.
I've been
Real
itching.
quick, real
Sorry.
quick, real quick. What was your biggest surprise for the roster?
Biggest surprise. Yeah, probably the AJ Finley signing. Mostly just there. I want to preface by no, sorry, I'm gonna take that back. The Xander Horvath just getting cut, especially because it was like after the wave of cuts. Like it was after the first like full day that most players got cut, and then all of a sudden out of
Yeah.
nowhere, Xander Horvath has been cut. It's just sad day for the fullback position. But I 100% expect Stone Smart to kind of fill that role, just like we were talking about Steven Anderson used to do, just kind of as a hybrid fullback. And yeah, I'd say that's the most surprising. But like looking back on it, nothing like blew my mind.
Yeah. All right. All right. Now we can get to season predictions.
Well, what was your most surprising? Now I have to ask.
I would probably say AJ Finley.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Just because I did not, that was the one name that I'm like, who the fuck is AJ Finley? No offense, AJ Finley, but
We wish you well.
I just didn't know who he was. So yeah, that was my biggest surprise. But yeah, let's do it, man. Let's get into some predictions. I feel like we've waited all off season, basically since draft night. Like we have to hold these predictions in, even though we probably already like know when the schedule comes out, like, oh, okay, win, loss. But this is really like your best bet. You get to use all of training camp, the entire preseason, which that's not a lot because you don't get to see a lot of starters. But it's just the most accurate predictions that we'll have before the season starts. So let's get to it, man. The way we're gonna do this is we're gonna give our full predictions for the entire season. So 17 games. What do you think that looks like? And then we'll go ahead and break down week by week of how we think they're going to get there. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. So You want to do like a drum roll? Do you want to go first?
You got it, man. I want you to go
All right.
first because I'm too antsy.
All right. I predict for the 2023 season, the Los Angeles Chargers will go 12-5, baby.
Ooh, okay.
Let's go. 12-5, playoff berth.
How long have you had this number? Is now my question.
I've been going back and forth on the win total for a couple weeks now, but I feel confident going into this year that, you know, this team, they don't even have to stay like super healthy. I think the misconception is that they can't afford to lose anyone, otherwise they'll just crumble. Which, I mean, definitely depends on who you lose, but I definitely think this team is built to go on a run. I don't think they'll win the division. I just want to start with that. I think they can get close, but I still think the Chiefs, it's their division to lose, and they're just kind of like our big brother right now. Like nothing we can do, or nothing we haven't been able to do anything over the last 3-4 years that have really been, you know, like calls for us to really like beat them. I mean, I know we're kind of like the media darling every year, and people constantly pick this team to go deep in the playoffs, but I really think this year, like a lot of those are finally kind of like no one's really talking about us this offseason like they have in prior off seasons. So that pressure I think is off of us a little bit. And I think the Chiefs winning a Super Bowl this last year, for me, it's like the pressure off because it's no longer like, I mean, you just got to respect them. You just got to acknowledge the fact that they're going to be there at the end of the season and you're going to have to deal with them. And that to me just took the pressure off. Like, stop worrying, like, stop watching what the Chiefs are doing every week because just they're going to be there. Like, you have to slay that dragon um, to go anything really further past that. So um, I don't think they'll win the division, but that doesn't mean they can't go further than them once playoffs start. So 12-5, that's my official prediction. And I'm expecting a big year out of this offense. I think this offense is a big reason why this team will go 12-5.
Yeah, I mean for sure, man. This team gives me a lot of vibes of the 2018 team. We have our leaders on offense, we have our known
Yep.
leaders on defense. We're going in with the coach that might be on Anthony Lynn's like level. I don't know, probably not. Staley's definitely better than Lynn, but still, we're going in with a coach that he's not gonna necessarily be the reason why we win games. In some aspects, he's proven us otherwise in the past. But yeah, I'm getting a lot of vibes from that team. It's about health. That was our big thing last year. I think that this team is just as talented as they were last year. It's just couldn't stay on the field last year. But that's going to happen to every team every once in a while. So I have us
So
currently
wait, wait,
in.
wait, wait, wait. Let me give you the drum roll.
Wait, I want to preface. I think that this team can win like 14 games, but now drum roll.
Okay.
I got them at 11-6 this year.
11 and 6.
11 and
Love it.
6. I also do not think that they're quite ready to. I think they can dethrone the Chiefs, but again, like you said, it's not knocking our ability. It's just the fact that they're a juggernaut, and it's
Yeah.
hard for anyone to slow them down. And that's just the reality of the situation. And us as Chargers fans just got to kind of man up and just get through it while we can. So 11-6 is what I got us at. I was going through the schedule earlier. We don't have an easy schedule by any means, but I just think that this roster that we possess this year has the talent on both sides of the ball to be able to get at least 11 wins in it, if not more.
Yeah, because this is a team that won 10 games a year ago, right? So,
Yes. 10
I
games a
mean,
year ago decimated by injuries. So,
decimated by injuries. They definitely started to win some games that they in recent years didn't win. Um, but they also won some games that they shouldn't have won. Or I mean, no, that's the same. Am I saying the same thing? They won some games that they should have never won, like the Browns game. Like they got
yeah.
luckier than shit, right?
Yeah.
But they also lost games that they definitely should have won. Like there's like the Raiders game. There were a bunch of them. Like they started to kind of turn a corner of like not being the same old Chargers, but then there was definitely a few of those games where they like, oh, this is the same shit. Um, so I'd like to think, yeah, if they can stay healthy and if it just all kind of gels together, it like you're right. They have all the pieces on offense. They have all the pieces on defense. Everything just now it just needs to fall in place.
They
Like
have a
for
top. I'll go far enough to say they have a top 5 roster in the league. They
I would
legitimately do.
put him very close to yeah, like or I would definitely put him up there. I don't know where I would put him
I think they have a more complete
specifically,
roster
but they're
than
definitely a top roster, like one of the top rosters in the league.
the Chiefs. I mean, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, the Chiefs are
They do.
carried by an insane QB, quarterback, or QB tight end connection, and just an absolute genius of a head coach.
And
So,
a fucking stellar offensive line. I think that's probably the
well,
most
yes,
underrated
of course.
aspect of the Chiefs. Like, because you look at their running backs and it's not anything sexy. Even their receivers, nothing too sexy. I mean, Travis Kelsey, yes, but it's just the guys up front that make it possible for all that circus clown shit to go on.
True. So, but yeah, I think that they're by far one of the most complete rosters in the league. It's just about, injuries and coaching and, putting it
Yeah.
together out on the field.
Damn. What you just said like resonated with me, and I'm like, that's so true. The Chiefs really don't like when you really boil their roster down outside. Like it's
And
their roster is probably more top heavy than our roster is.
and they might be without their best defensive player that they've had in years going into the season. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a great point. That's something that I hadn't really thought about, and you're exactly right. Like a lot of it does come down to coaching because then you look at okay, who's the coach over there, and that then it kind of starts to make more sense. Again, like okay, Andy Reid. Then all right, duh.
we can be 10 points better than the Chiefs, but Andy Reid is 14 points better than Brandon Staley. Like it's just
Yeah, and look, I feel like the last, I mean, head-to-head games, I mean, they don't scare me like other teams might scare certain fan bases. Like we see them twice a year. We always play them. We consistently play them better than anybody in the league. One because we see them more consistently than anyone, but the Broncos and Raiders aren't fucking playing the Chiefs this tough every time they meet up. So it's like I don't know how you can't look at the Chargers and be like they easily have or are the worst matchup for the Chiefs, probably the entire league outside of like maybe the Eagles or another. I mean, the Chargers always give them fits. They always do. So, it's more so can they keep up when they're not playing? Can they keep up with the grind and the pace that the Chiefs are going to be at for most of the season, which is probably about like 13-ish wins. That's the part where I'm like, I don't know if they can keep up with that pace, but I definitely think I think they could sweep the Chiefs. Like that would be insanely hard, but I don't think that's out of the possibility at all. Like they're so close. I mean, they should definitely probably take one, but like it could go 50-50.
yeah, I just real quick just end this little Chiefs Chargers off that we've found ourselves in. This is like the most mind-blowing stat that I've ever heard, but in the second half of games versus the Chargers over the last 5 matchups between Mahomes and Herbert, Mahomes has had 116 dropbacks while trailing in the fourth quarter or in the second half. 116 dropbacks while trailing. He has led 7 times. 7 dropbacks.
Yeah, snaps.
7 snaps. He's led against the Chargers for 7 snaps and has trailed for 116. And he's 4-1 in those games.
That's because it always like the last 3 games have come down to like a game-winning drive for them. So it's like doesn't matter what you do for the entire second half, but if like they get that one drive with 30 seconds left, it's just fucked. And that's exactly kind of how it has gone. So that is a crazy stat.
We'll revisit this conversation come week 7, but for now, man, let's get to the schedule and not worry about the
Yeah,
Chiefs.
let's break it down. So I'm saying 12-5 officially. You're saying 12-6.
11
Let's
and
break
6.
down what, or 11-6. I'm sorry. Let's break down how we think they're going to get there. Because I always like going game by game. It gives me, it always gives me like perspective, like who other people think are tough on the schedule. Because sometimes you have those games where you're like, really? You think we're going to like, so I just love doing this and kind of matching up and seeing how you get to your season
Yeah.
prediction. So obviously week one, and this is gonna spoil really our pregame episode in a couple days, but fuck it. Doesn't matter. Chargers, Dolphins. How do you think week one's gonna go down?
We're not losing to the Dolphins. I do not care. Like you will never ever catch me on this show saying we're going to lose to the Dolphins. This is a team that both you and I share a hatred for. We're
Yeah.
not losing to the Dolphins. It's in SoFi. We're going 1-0.
Yeah. What will be probably one of the most satisfying victories in the entire season, just like last season. Week one, Raiders at home. You get a win, you start 1-0, but even better, the cherry on top is you get to just fucking give it to the Dolphin fans on Twitter and just rub it in how shitty Tua looked. So I cannot wait to see Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack just hunting Tua for 4 quarters.
Sandwich. First place sandwich. Force fumble, Derwin James scoop and score.
You bet. So we're both off to a 1-0 start.
Yes.
It's week two. Chargers roll into Nash Vegas. What do we think the Chargers Titans result ends up being?
Yeah, I think just with that guy Derrick Henry over there in Tennessee, this is going to be a challenging game. I mean, we know how close it feels like these two teams play every single time they do. However, it does feel like the Chargers just always have that little one up on them, and I think the case holds true again this year. I got us at 2-0 after a win in Nashville.
I'm off to a 2-0 start as well. I think it's a classic NFL game and doesn't matter really who's on. I think this game just naturally comes down to the wire, but I do think Cameron Dicker gets us a winning kick. So I can just see special teams like
That's I
coming up
mean,
huge in that game.
that's
And
how it happened last year. So
yeah, so yeah, I got us 2-0. And then we roll into Minnesota, a game that you're actually going to with my family, by the way. So I'm super
not
jealous.
Colin,
And
just going with
and
his
your
fam.
family, both our families are traveling there together. Um, this game makes me nervous, and I have us losing this game. So I'm sorry. I really hope they get a dub while you're there,
Oh,
but
fuck.
I just don't remember the last time we started 3-0, and I don't know. It just seems like something's got to give in those first 3 weeks. So I think it's a away game. Uh, Kirk Cousins isn't terrible at all. I think he can do enough, and they have weapons, and it's not even just. I think it's just we find a way to pull some dumb shit and whatever. 2-1, still a good start.
I will say I literally cannot remember. I don't think we've beat the Vikings since I've been like a real fan. I know that we
That's the
haven't
other
since I've
thing
been
too
able
is
to.
we have terrible. Dude, going back to when I was watching, like like elementary school,
Yeah,
like terrible luck against Vikings.
yeah. I remember one of our first game. Actually, I think like the first Chargers game I ever watched was Percy Harvin like housed like one of the first few plays, and I feel like we actually ended up winning that game, I think. But since then, we've probably played like 5 other times, and that's a team that I feel like we cannot beat. But no worries, I will be there in attendance, and we're not losing with me in the stadium. At least I'm not going to pick us to lose. I think the Vikings are going to have a historically bad defense. It's really, I think, when it comes down to our defense versus their offense, I think that we'll be able to get it done. Especially big bounce back from JC, lock down Justin Jefferson on the outside. I got us at 3-0.
All right, 2-1 over here. You got us at 3-0. Week 4, Raider week at SoFi. Again, I think we'll just automatically both take a dub there because you will never hear us
I
ever
will
go
not. I
against
will not.
ever
I will
ever
not.
take the Raiders against the
I will
Chargers.
not
So
utter those words.
never. I got us at 3-1. That means you got us off to a 4-0 start.
I do
Damn.
have us going into off to a 4-0 start, going into the ugly ass week 5 bye.
That's right. Week 5 is the bye. And then week
Disgusting.
6, we have another Chargers Cowboys matchup. This one being on Monday night at SoFi. So first time these teams have met since the controversial loss against them at SoFi. Was that in 2021?
Yeah, yeah, that one still stings a little bit. I can't even lie.
I'm gonna give us the dub, but I'm hesitant, but I'm gonna give us a dub. So I got us at 4-1, and Chargers are cruising right now. What do you got?
Yeah, the Cowboys are a team that, like, on paper, they also should be one of the best teams, like, every year, but something just never goes their way. So, actually, I think it continues. I'm gonna go 5-0, and I think Justin Herbert's gonna
Wow.
get a massive primetime W.
So at this point, we're the early darlings of the league because we're 5-0 according to you. I mean, we're
I didn't
four
make the
and one.
schedule, man. I didn't make the
Either way,
schedule, man. I just saw
either
what
way,
opponents I
four and
thought
one,
we'd win
5-0. We
to.
both have them off to a really fast start. Then they roll into the Chiefs, October 22nd. That's gonna be a huge matchup. I don't think that's a primetime game, which is crazy. No, it's a
Mm-mm,
125 kickoff.
it's not.
Um, but damn, that's going to be a very highly anticipated matchup. If we're 5-0, 4-1, and Chiefs are the same, if not undefeated, so that's going to be a crazy game in Arrowhead. How do you think this one goes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say that we're gonna be 6-0. I mean, but I will say with the grain of salt, I mean, it's gonna ruin it. I think we're gonna split with the Chiefs this year. Whether it's this week or whether it's the Week 18 game in SoFi, I think we split with the Chiefs. So I'll take my loss now, and we'll say
Okay.
that I am at. Let's see, what would that make me? 5-1.
Yeah, I'm going to take the loss as well. I think it's your classic Chargers Chiefs game. The ball just doesn't seem to bounce our way again, but that's okay. 4-2, 5-1. So a very good start considering this team tends to kind of turn it on in the later parts of the season. So um, then the Bears roll into town on October 29th. So I believe we're week 7 at this point. Chargers Bears another Monday night game. Who you got?
Yeah, prime time in LA. I do think Justin Fields on the ground is going to not be a very fun thing to contain, but there's just not a lot to be desired about the rest of this Bears roster. Yeah, I think the Chargers get it done on prime time against the Chicago Bears. The Bears.
Yeah, I think Justin Fields can give the defense some fits in this one, but ultimately, I think the offensive firepower is too much, and I feel like we get the job done. So that puts me at 5-2. That puts you at 6-1. And now the Chargers roll into New York. New York Jets. Aaron
JETS.
Rodgers.
Another
This is a
prime time game.
Sunday night game, right?
Monday night.
Oh, Monday. So the Bears is Sunday night.
Yeah, Bears is Sunday night. Jets is Monday night.
So back to back primetime games here.
Yeah, and this might be a hot take, but I think we can get it done.
Oh no, we're
At
not
New
gonna get this
York.
one done. We're losing.
I I'm gonna
We're
be
losing in the
honest.
Big
I've
Apple.
I've already chosen some of my other L's, and this wasn't one of them. So we're gonna. I think we can get it done.
I think the Jets will probably have the best defense in the league, if not like top 3, with Philly and San Francisco being like them. Like they'll all be right up there for the best defense in the league. I think this is a game where it's just I don't know. Maybe that there's some missed opportunities. I don't know, but I just feel
Ugh.
like that's gonna be a tough one on the road. And if it's Aaron Rodgers, we played him well. We have played him well in his career, but I think we dropped this one. So I'm gonna put us at 5-3.
I apologize. I had to go back and look. I do have this chalked up as an L. I
Okay,
had to
so
go
you're
back
six and
through and
two.
yes, I am 6-2 now.
Okay.
So yeah, and same reasons as you. Just prime time in the Big Apple. They're gonna have a really good defense. Aaron Rodgers, like, and I've been watching Hard Knocks. They look legit, and I drafted Garrett Wilson. So yeah,
I drafted Garrett Wilson in one of my leagues too. So
there you
yeah, I
go.
think they could be a problem for some teams. But I just think that defense is gonna be it's gonna be a thing to deal with. So that brings the Chargers coming back to LA. against the Lions in week. What are we on? Week 9 now.
Yes, sir.
So this is a game I think I might go to if given the chance. I got the Chargers winning this game.
Yeah, I agree. I just offensively, I think the Lions are going to take a big step forward this year, but defensively, just still a lot to be desired on that side of the ball. Outside of Aiden Hutchinson, obviously. So,
Yep, which that means I have the Chargers at 7-3. You have them at 8-2.
yes, sir.
Or no. I have them at 6-3, and you have them at 7-2.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So week 10, Chargers rolling into the frozen tundra, even though it probably won't be frozen on November 19th. But Lambeau Field, the Packers. Jordan
Yeah,
Love, I don't know. Jordan Love's like pretty good, but I still think the Chargers should have enough to pick this dub up.
yeah, I think so too. Lambeau's been a lot scarier place to play in the past with Aaron Rodgers out there at QB. Whole new Packers team. I think the Chargers can
Yeah.
get this one done in a tough environment.
Okay, so now I'm 7-3. Now you're 8-2. This next game though, I just gonna give us an L because of the competition, and I just don't. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a game that we escape from. But the Ravens come to town. So I have us losing that game, which would drop my record to 7-4, or no, eight
Yeah,
and four.
yeah, 8-4, and
No,
I
7-4,
also
7-4, 7-4.
I also think we dropped this game. Ravens are just a team that we just don't play the best. It feels like. So yeah, I got us dropping that one as well. I believe that's my third loss.
5-3, 6-3,
Yeah, I have a
7-3.
Chiefs,
Yeah,
Jets.
so I have us at 7. I'm 7-4 right now.
I am 8-3. So, and I expect that trend to continue as we go to New England. Not one of the best teams that not one of the best New England teams on paper that we've seen play, but Belichick at home. I'm taking the Patriots in this one. Just a tough place to play, and again, another team that I cannot remember the last time we beat.
I also have us losing this game, and if you're doing the math, this is my 5th loss,
That is your 5th loss.
and I predict
Wow.
us to go 12-5. So do the math.
Did you
But
do
yeah,
that on purpose? Did
I
you do
have us
that on
losing this
purpose?
game. Yeah, I have us losing this game and dropping to 7-5
7-5. Okay.
because we're about to run the table on this motherfucker.
All right. Well, we know your picks then for
So
the rest of these games, but I'll go ahead. Week 14 against the Broncos. Again with the Chiefs. I think we split with the Broncos this year. I don't know if that's going to be the week 14 or the week 17 matchup, but I'll take my L on one of those there. So, yeah.
I got us winning. Then that brings us to Vegas and
Dub.
what? Oh,
Dub.
you got yeah. I agree. I think we escape Vegas with a win. Following week, the
And,
Bills come into town, so this is week 16 that we're on now.
and
Bills
I
and
got us dropping
Chargers.
this game. I got us dropping this game to put me at 6 losses on the year.
This is a Sunday night game, right? I
It's that
believe.
weird Saturday game on
Oh, it's a
Peacock.
Saturday night game. You're
Yeah.
right. So, dude, I think this is going to be. I think this is a candidate for game of the year across the NFL. And I think the
Yeah.
Chargers. I think we fucking. I think we do it. So
I hope so, man.
we beat the Bills. Then we go into what it will be a really tough game at Denver
On New Year's Eve.
on New Year's Eve, week 17. Who you got?
Like I said, I don't know what time it's going to be. I guess I'll just make it easy. I'll say that we drop this one in a cold Denver and win the one in LA.
Okay. Which brings us to week 18 in a game
And
that could have division implications. Chiefs at Chargers. I'm just happy this game is not in Arrowhead. I'm happy we go to Arrowhead early.
yeah,
So that's all I really care about. But I think we're gonna split with the Chiefs because we have to. Like if we're gonna be serious about competing for the division, we have to.
Because let's be real, Cole and I are not going to sit here and say, "Yeah, Chiefs are sweeping us 2-0 this year." When
No,
we're
yeah,
when we're
like
literally as close as you
and just
can
going
get.
forward, like even the the precedent you want to set for like future seasons, like you can't get swept like 2 3 seasons in a row by the same team in the division and then expect to like all of a sudden compete for a division. Like you have to have at least a couple of years of like some
Ba-
back and forth.
Baby steps,
Yeah,
for sure.
so last year is a big gut punch that they weren't even able to get one from Kansas City, and even bigger gut punch losing both ways the way that we did. So I think they have to, like, if they're serious about not, I mean, they're going to make the playoffs, even if they don't win that game and they finish 11-6 instead of 12-5 or whatever. Like, they're going to be good enough to make the playoffs, but it's like they have to show me, in the quote unquote like playoff games, playoff atmospheres during the regular season, they got to show me that they're like
Legit.
competitive. They're
Yeah.
legit. Yeah. So I have them running the table. I do after like was it December 3rd? I basically don't have them losing. And look, it's not crazy. It's pretty on par with what this team's done in years past. They're a December team, you know. I
Phil
remember the
Sember.
old Phil Simber days, right? So like this team loves to turn it on late. They love to find their groove and they love to find a way into the postseason.
I mean, we did the same
And
thing last year. So
right. And 11 games, even though it's a loaded AFC conference, 11 games should definitely get you in. 10 might be a little too close for comfort.
11's a lot. 11's got to be a lock to get you in. 10, yeah.
10's a little closer comfort. Yeah, 11 should definitely get you in. And I mean, yeah. So that's kind of where I'm like, I got them winning 12 though. I think that they get 2 games better than last year. I feel like they don't get hit with the injury bug as hard as they did last year. And I feel like this new offense, I feel like they just really fixed across the board. They've fixed a lot of their issues that they had last season. So it gives me enough faith to, you know, predict 12-5 season.
Yeah, really, it's all about. It's gonna be about keeping those guys on the field. I think if we can keep guys on the field, like not only do I think we can win 14 games, I think that we can be like a candidate for the 1 seed in the AFC. Like I think that this team, I think we possess that kind of potential, and that's. I
Look,
mean, it's
it's
not even being
never,
biased. When you look at the roster, like it's just we got dudes on our roster. Like
yeah.
it's reality.
And like I said, all that has to happen now is just things just have to fall into place. Like think about other fan bases, in years past that, it just things fall into place and just if you're destined to win it that season, like it'll work itself out. It'll find a way to get it done. Whether it was the Eagles or the Chiefs last year, that you can just tell like this is a special team, this is a special season, like they're gonna go far. Um, and I not to say I have that feeling like exactly, but I definitely feel very good about where this team is at, and I'm not sure how the season ends. I'm not going to predict that. I'm not ready to predict that. I just think that they can do enough, and I think they could. I think there's 12 wins on the schedule.
Yeah, I agree, man. Difficult schedule, really. I think it's just mostly due to just how difficult the AFC is. Just a lot of young talent in the AFC. But hopefully we won't have to worry about too much of that until January. But until now, man, yeah, I got us at 11-6, 12-5 for yourself. And you got anything else you want to throw in here?
I don't, man. Next episode is the Dolphins preview. So next episode we're back in the regular season grind, and this is the last off season episode of 2023. So man, it's finally time. It's here.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does. It does. So that's all I got, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Tune back in next, or I guess here in a couple days, really, when we drop our our Dolphins preview episode. And as always, make sure you follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Our handle is at Powder Hour Pod LA or Chargers Powder Hour Podcast. You can also search that and find us. Make sure to subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. And yeah, bolt up. We'll see you next time.